Doopy-doopy-doopy-doo. Okay, hey, JD here. This is my Deadliest Warrior recap, where I go through and basically look at tests and see what I think they did wrong and what I think they got wrong, so on and so forth. Okay. The one I'm going through right now is I already talked about episode 1. I think it's episode 9 of season 1, which was Apache versus Gladiator and the Maui Warrior versus Shaolin Monk. Shaolin Monk wins and Apache Warrior wins in those battles. I didn't have much to say about those. I think that I've laid out parameters for what I think the battle would be and what they should be to take everyone. That way everyone doesn't have an element that they have and they can use to their advantage. I think you have 100 yards, just flat, no trees, no nothing. One person over here, one person over here, and they engage each other. That's it. That's how the battle should be. It shouldn't be like just randomized. Every battle should be that way. Okay? Viking versus Samurai. This episode is one of the first ones that really irks me. A lot of tests that they do, it's something they do a lot. They'll test one weapon against armor, and they'll never test that weapon again. Or that armor again with anything. My opinion, this is how you should come to the battle. If you are representing, let's say I'm recommending the Dande Warriors or the Menge Warriors or whatever made up culture I can think of, okay, and they want to test my stuff against someone else, I should show up with 3 to 4 copies of armor, a handful of copies of the weapons, and I should be willing to test every one of those weapons to the fullest extent that we can test the weapon. Okay, and as the people doing the tests, they should check for 3 things: blunt force trauma, cutting ability, stabbing ability, okay, or thrusting ability. Okay, so this is something that happens in the Viking test. The samurai's weapons, a lot of their weapons are rendered not useless, but it does disrupt their game and make them a little less effective than they would be against any other warrior, and I'll explain why. The first test they do is a katana, and they're testing against Viking chainmail. Okay? That Viking chainmail, it's not the greatest armor in the world, but it is expertly effective against slashing weapons. Okay? It is expertly effective against a slashing weapon. Not a stabbing weapon. Stabbing weapon will go right through like butter. Okay? But a slashing weapon, it is completely... a slashing weapon is completely useless against it. Okay? The katana is a slashing weapon. Okay? You can stab, but it's not made to stab. It's a slasher. It's made to slash. You can stab like maybe as like a finishing, just like jug it in someone's neck just to finish one off. But it is a slasher. It's fought with the slashing capability. That's the way it's training the fight it's fought, and it is not weighted. Okay, I've held a katana before. It's not very heavy. It does not have weight, so if I'm wearing a whole bunch of stuff and someone takes a swing at me with it and hits me in the ribs with that armor on, what is it going to do? Well, in my opinion, and they didn't test this is something I wish they did. This is why I think that they got a lot of things wrong. They didn't test the impact of that weapon against that armor. Okay, whether it doesn't cut, they tested whether it didn't cut, didn't do that. The katana is not a stabbing weapon, so they didn't test that, but they should at least put a pressure mat underneath the armor and tell them to cut at a certain spot and see if there's any blunt force trauma that can be done. For example, if I'm wearing chainmail, and chainmail covers from here, it's like a shirt, from here all the way down my arm to here, and all the way down past my legs, down my butt. Okay, the front of my legs and my butt. That's what it covers. That's the area in which it covers. So you literally, let's say they go for a shot right here in my ribs. Okay, they hit my rib. What does it do? Does it break a rib? Does it do nothing? Does it give me a nasty bruise? Does it collapse a lung because it cracks the rib right in, like does it crack 3 ribs? These are things they should test, and they don't do it. Okay? So, and this is something that we don't look at. We don't look at the fact that the samurai's katana, basically its main purpose is negated, and now the margin of samurai is narrowed because the samurai has to cut off the Viking's head right here at the neck, and that's your only kill shot. Anything else, you would have to wear the Viking down. You have to maybe cut off their legs to potentially get that kill shot. Okay, so you're narrowing your room for error. Okay, there's a margin of error you have, and the katana is drastically narrowed. Okay. Now, I'll go over the Vikings things. I'm going to go through all these. Naginata is a slashing spear. It can be stabbed. I'll assume it can be stabbed. I didn't test this, but I'll assume it can be stabbed. Okay. Naginata is a 7-foot long spear. It's basically a katana, but as a spear. Its main primarily uses as slashing. It's useless against that armor unless you're cutting someone's head off. It can be stabbed. I can assume it can be stabbed. Just by the way it's designed, it probably maybe doesn't take the impact really well, but it can stab. But you're taking, if it has those two capabilities, you're taking one of the capabilities completely out of the picture, except for right here. So the weapon is pretty much useless. It's pretty much useless. The weapon that I think that gets really undersold in this is a Yumi bow. The Yumi bow is an accurate bow and arrow. It's not rapid fire, but it can be fired somewhat fast, and it has a effective range of about I'd say about 50 yards, 50 yards to total accuracy, and pinpoint accuracy about 25. And they tested pinpoint accuracy. They actually put a helmet on, and they colored the eyes, and from I think it was 35 yards or 30 yards, he put a bow right here, two arrows right here. So I do think the Yumi bow is an effective weapon. And the Kanabo, which is basically a 35-pound, it's not like an axe, but it's a weighted baseball bat. And it has metal divoted into it, and it's basically a clubber. Okay, it's basically what it is a clubber. It's made to, you swing it, and it just has a lot of blunt force trauma behind it. It's what it is. Okay, now, again, I said this in my last video. I don't think you can carry all 5 of these on the battlefield. I think a katana is your constant. You can carry a katana along with the naginata. You can carry the katana along with the Yumi bow, and you can carry katana along with the kanabo. You can't carry all 4 together. The samurai is 135 pounds, and you want to carry all that gear all at one time. That's ridiculous. It's stupid. I know the samurais have armor, and they tested it in another episode. So the armor does have some good things about it, but however, they do not test it in this one. So I'm going to go off what they do in the other test, just to keep it fair. Okay. So I'm going to go over all the Viking weapons now and see how they stack up against the katana. The great axe, and this is what the testers did not test at all. What I mean by blunt force trauma. A lot of the Viking weapons have weight. They have impact. The samurai weapons are made to be quick and swift and you get those quick slashes, quick cuts, and quick kills. Most of them, except for the kanabo, it's a bludgeoner. The great axe, it's not a slow weapon, but it has over 2,000 pounds of force, 1,100 joules. Okay, and that they literally tested it, and they could literally cut a person in two cuts, cut a person almost in half right down here. Okay. The great axe, even if you have armor, and they did not test this. They did this in the show, and this is where I get my frustration out of. They put a helmet on the guy. It's like, oh, it'll deflect. It'll deflect your blow. Okay, if it deflects the blow, how much energy does the neck take? How much energy does the head take? Is the guy going to get concussion? Will there be internal damage because the energy transfers into the skull or the neck? And how much damage do his shoulders take after the energy gets transferred off of his helmet onto his shoulders? Okay, and samurai armor does not cover your shoulders. Its chest does not cover your shoulders. So they don't test that. There is deflection. I'll give it that. There is deflection by the great on the great axe when it comes to that helmet. But they do not show or look up how much pressure and how much weight comes down on the head that the head receives once it hits the helmet and then deflects. They don't show that. So that's something I wish they would do, and they should do this for every weapon. Okay, longsword, put samurai's armor on, take a swing at it. What impact does it do? Underneath that, if you take a great axe and hit the armor right in the chest, okay, could that collapse a lung? Could that cave in his entire chest? Could it penetrate the armor? They don't test this, and it's very inconclusive. So I have to go off of common knowledge. If a Viking has chainmail armor, And a katana, no matter how many times they slash and cut, does not cut through it and does not have any kind of blunt force trauma. That weapon is useless. The samurai will tire out trying to swing and cut at it. Okay? Even if the Viking has sloppy form, he can still just hunker down behind. And there's even a shield I haven't got to. Naginata, same thing. You can't slash. You cannot slash. You can't slash, and there's no weight to it. The Yumi bow, I'll give you that. You can still shoot. Doesn't matter if they have armor. That can penetrate the armor because it's a penetration weapon. And then Kanabo, I'll get to Kanabo a little bit later. So longsword. It's the thing they also didn't pair about this. A longsword is paired with a it's a one-handed sword paired with a shield. They do not have that. So if you compare a longsword to a katana, you have a spear or a sword and shield that if you have two hands with katana and you're going like this and doing all this stuff, all I do is put my shield out and just deflect all your blows, and eventually you're going to get caught. I'm going to catch you, get you off balance, and I'm going to stab you with my long sword. Okay? Or if I can't stab you, I have much more capability to hurt you than you do me, because you can't create any damage to me unless you cut my head off. And I have a shield that I can knock you on your ass with. I have a long sword that is heavier than your weapon, and so I can create actual trauma by hitting you. What if I hit you enough times, just by getting one or two hits, and I can separate your shoulder, stuff like that. They don't test these things, okay, and it really irritates me. A long sword can also stab, okay. It can stab, it can slash, and it has blunt force trauma because it is weighted. I've held both of these weapons. This long sword is significantly heavier, okay. Then long range weapon is the spear. Now, though I don't think the spear is as effective as a weapon as they say, they do not give it enough credence. And what I mean by that, enough credit. They discredit the weapon. Here's why. They're throwing it at blocks of wood about that thick, and it goes through the wood. My opinion is that the guy says it's textbook armor penetration, and so one of the testers go, "Is it though?" I'm like, "Why don't you just get some freaking armor in here and test it? Put some armor there. If it's really that good an armor, the guy shouldn't have a problem letting them test it. And if it is that bad, you shouldn't be able to hide behind the fact that, oh, I don't want to destroy my armor, so you can't test how good my armor is." That's a dumb statement. Seriously, it's a dumb statement. You should be able to take that spear, put it on a ballistic gel torso, and throw it at that guy. Put a pressure mat behind it, and see how much impact it has. Could it break a rib? Could it knock you on your butt? Could it actually kill you? Could it go through the armor? They don't test those things. So I would have to assume, and I agree with the guy, you go through a block of wood that thick. It's round and it's that thick. It's about 3-4 inches thick. That's textbook armor penetration to me. And and at the worst, it has enough of velocity that it's going to at least knock you on your ass, and not knock you out, but knock the wind right out of you. Okay? Throwing two is dumb to me. Why throw two? Just throw one and throw another. But then they discredited that the second throw is not as fast. Well, why don't you just get a ballistic torso, throw a spirit one, or throw an armor with right hand and left hand, whatever. Okay? So they discredited the spear. I don't like the spear that much anyway. And this is another thing that the show does. You're not going to sit here and tell me Vikings did not have certain things. They did not. Vikings had one-handed axes. Okay? Because, and though history says this, Vikings could farm. You could farm where they lived. You could. They just like to plunder and steal. That's all it was. They could farm where they lived. Watch the show Vikings. They could definitely farm. Okay, a small axe was more of a not a weapon, so to speak, but it was also an actual tool you could use, and it doubled as a weapon. Okay, and axes are really nice because an axe, the way it's designed, it's actually weighted at the end. So if it ever goes blunt, if it ever dulls and is not as sharp, it's still blunt force trauma. So that's one thing I like about it, an axe or a hatchet. Even if the blade goes soft, you can still really beat someone to death with it because it's so heavy on the end. Okay, all that weight comes down. It's still blunt force trauma. You may not be able to slice someone's head right off or cut someone's arm off or whatever, but you can bludgeon someone to death really well. That's why I like it. Until you sharpen it again, of course. And then the last thing is a shield, and this is something they actually really undersold as well. You'll hear a common theme, in my opinion. Most shields are discredited on the battlefield because the other person says it's cowardice to have a shield. It's smart to have a shield. Shield, even to this day, riot police have shields. It's smart. Okay, the shield that they have, it's not the greatest type of shield ever made, but it's an effective shield. It's wooden. It's thick. There's a leather piece on top. There's a metal rounded part in the middle to push and to deflect oncoming like strikes or whatever. And the thing about a shield, and this is the best way I can do. If you have a shield, every part of that shield, if you hit, has all the weight of the product plus whatever you're thrusting behind it, concentrate on that point. That's the beauty of a shield. If I were to take this phone and drop it, all the dropping energy, all the energy of the phone, the joules, is spread out over the entire surface area of the phone. So it's not as painful if I were to drop it on my hand. Okay? It doesn't hurt. But if I were to take it, turn it on its edge and drop it, I could break my finger right now. Okay? And that's the beauty of weapons. That's why they make metal, and you don't just take a block of metal, okay? You don't just take a block of metal. If I took, this is metal, and I just took it and tried to kill someone with it, it'd be effective. But if I sharpened it into a sword or sharpened it into a spear of some kind, it makes it much more effective, because if I go to stab you with a knife, the end of it has all that energy concentrated on that point, and that's how swords or weapons are effective. Okay? So that's why they put points on it. In the shield, it doesn't have a point, but it has an edge. And that edge, wherever you hit something, it's always hitting there, and all the energy that this potential energy this has, plus your thrust behind it, plus their momentum if they're coming at you, is all concentrated on that point. Okay? Which makes it very dangerous. They did this test in the Spartan versus Ninja one, and I'll get to that one. That's my next episode, actually, but I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'll talk about this. They tested a Spartan shield in doing that. That shield has the ability to kill. Nothing in my mind says that you could do the same exact thing with a Viking shield and kill somebody. Okay? Especially somebody who does not have a shield themselves. If you got in close, you could literally hit them with the side. You can swing like this. This one wouldn't kill. Okay, they tested this one. This one wouldn't kill. But anything where you're going like this and you're hitting the person with the edge of the shield would kill somebody. Okay, if it's chest, collapsed lung, broken ribs. If it's in the head, it is a fractured skull, immediate death. In the neck or whatever, throat, immediate death. It's immediate death. So I think and this is the last thing I'll say. And then the Kanabo was used to counteract the shield. I don't think the Kanabo... The guy had to load up a bunch to hit it. And the way the guy hit it, it rendered the test, in my opinion, inconclusive. Because the guy hit it, he didn't hit it smack in the middle. He hit it on the edge. If I'm holding a shield, especially a shield that's 4 feet in diameter, and I'm holding it here, this is about... Let's just be conservative. This is a 2 feet across. I have a foot on each side. If you hit on the edge, you're not breaking my arm. Okay? You may knock the shield... You might disorient me, but you're not breaking anything. Okay, because you didn't hit it squarely. And the part of the shield broke, but it still didn't render the shield useless. It still works. And I'm sorry, the Kanabo, you had to load up a lot to use it. I just don't see it as an effective weapon. I don't see it as effective on the battlefield. The Samurai, like I said, I think it has 3 combinations. You have the constant weapon is the Katana, and you have the Yumibo and the Kanabo. I think your constant with the Viking is the shield and sword. They had a way that you could take the shield and put it on your back. They had like a little harness I came across that held it on the back. Okay, so your other 2 options are to have the great axe or the spear. And if you throw your spear, easy. Just pull out your sword and pull out your shield. You're good to go. And you have a great axe as well. So you fight with a great axe, and if you lose that, you go to your sword and your shield. Okay? So, again, one last time, I'm going to reiterate, the Katana's the Samurai's weapons, 2 of them are rendered not useless, but they really narrow your margin of error. Because if I'm just standing here with no armor, you can cut anywhere in my body, I'm dead. I'm dead anywhere from the waist up, dead. Okay, you're going to hit all vital organs, you're going to kill me, you're going to drop me immediately, hit an artery, whatever the case may be. The chainmail armor renders anything from here down not a kill shot. Not a kill shot. And you can't even internally injure me. Okay, break your rib or whatever. So you literally have turned them both into slashing weapons from here to here, or stabbing weapons, which a katana can't stab. Naginata can stab, but it's not its primary function. Okay, so you're taking away your options. Okay, so if I'm fighting the Viking and I don't have to worry about the samurai stabbing me, I get as close as I want to get. I'm bigger. The samurai is 5'3". That's the average height of samurai back then, during the time period we're talking about. The Viking is 5'11" to 6 feet tall. They have 50 pounds of weight on the samurai. If the Viking knows that they can't penetrate my armor, they're gonna get as close as possible. Okay, and the Yumi bow, as much as I do think it's effective, the Vikings are not stupid. They're gonna get behind their shield and they're gonna close the gap slowly. They're not gonna let the Yumi bow shoot them down. Okay, but the samurais are pretty accurate, but the Yumi bow is not going to just roll over and not try to kill them. That's the best way I can put it. The kanabo, in my opinion, I think is useless. If you have the kanabo and you're walking into battle with kanabo, that means you have a kanabo and a katana, which means that the Viking either has a great axe, which the kanabo, as soon as you load up to hit the Viking sidesteps and cuts you in half with the great axe, or he hits you in the chest or something and separates your shoulder or something and makes you unable to yield that weapon effectively. Or B, he walks into battle with the spear, and he's going to throw the spear at you before you ever get close enough with the kanabo. Okay? And then if he loses both those weapons, you have a longsword and a shield. And any two-handed weapon against a shield and a sword, or shield and a one-handed weapon, in my opinion, is not effective. It's not as effective, because you have to commit both hands as your offensive tool and your defensive tool. If it's a bigger sword or bigger weapon, you have a point. Some weapons, like pole arms, did render those shields not useless, but made it harder to wield those and made the shield's less effective. Okay, like a halberdian was an example. There are some swords that were so massive they actually were able to cut shields. None of these are big enough to do that. Okay, so I have what I lay out to be the breakdown of the scoring in this episode. Okay, the katana on the original episode got 137 kills. I don't think that's accurate. I think you get about 100. I'll give it its credit. They get about 100. The Naginata gets about 150. Okay? They're still good weapons, and they're still skilled warriors, so I give them that credit. The Yumi bow, I gave it a little bit more credit than it was given in the. I think it's a better weapon than what it's given credit for. So I give it 151 kills, and then the Kanabo, I give it 50 kills, because if it does hit, it is a one shot, one kill. Okay? That leaves the total to 451 kills for the samurai. Now, I know what you're thinking now, like, oh, the samurai didn't win. He doesn't win. His weapons don't create a lot of blunt force trauma. You're asking a 135-pound samurai to carry a 35-pound weapon and swing it, and in the middle of this, I'm actually switching this. I'm dropping the Kanabo down to 25 kills. I'm going to give 25 more kills to the Yumi bow. So it's 176 to it. The more I talk about it, you're asking a 135 man to carry something that is a fourth of their weight and swing it around at somebody who is bigger than them, stronger than them, and all their weapons are, adequately weight adjusted for what they do. Okay, so I'm changing that. Sorry, the Kanabo to me is just not an effective weapon. If it hits to kill, but you're asking someone who is 5'3" to carry a 35-pound weapon and swing it at people. I'm sorry, that is dumb. I apologize. That is dumb. Dumb. The Yumi bow, 176 kills, is the most effective weapon because it can penetrate the armor. That's the only weapon they have that can penetrate the armor. Okay? So now down to the Vikings weapons. The Great Axe gets 182 kills. Mainly, it has nothing to do with the fact that these weapons are more effective at killing than the katana. They're more effective because the Viking can take as many swings as they want, and even if they miss, their margin of error is higher. They have a higher margin of error because the katana and the Naginata are not effective because of the way that the armor is designed for the Viking. Longsword gets 175 kills. They had that in the original one. I think that's about accurate. The spear gets a little less kills. If you look at, there's another test they did, and I failed to mention this. There's another test they did where they, in a different episode, they tested throwing a spear, which is about the same size, a little bit. This is a little more bulkier. Throwing a spear or stabbing someone with a spear with the Spartan armor or samurai armor on, and a moving target. And the armor did hold up, but a lot of that energy was transferred. So I don't think it's going to kill unless it hits in the face or maybe hits him in the leg or something and immobilizes them. Okay. The shield, I gave the shield a lot more credence, a lot more credit, and at 125 kills. So that is 451 kills by the Viking, or by the samurai, to 549 kills by the Viking. I think the Viking would win this battle. It's not like hugely significant battle. It's just the fact that it has nothing to do with the skill of the warrior, which one's much more skilled. It has to do with the fact that the Viking does not or has armor that the opponent cannot penetrate. Now, again, I didn't test this, so you can you just kind of take a guess at this. But knowing what I know about how heavy axes are and how heavy the Viking weapons are, they're still going to create some kind of blunt force trauma to the samurai. So if I'm a samurai, if I'm a Viking, you're a samurai, and I have armor on, you have armor on, and we just keep trading blows. You hit me in the chest, I hit you in the chest, and we go back and forth. Eventually, you're going to collapse and die because my weapon will not go through your weapon, but it will actually impact your body. The energy will go through into your body, cracking ribs, breaking bones, so on and so forth. Okay. So without further ado, that's pretty much it. Like, share, and subscribe if you like this. Fine. If you have any comments, please keep them civil. You can probably agree with me. Everyone is dick hard about samurais and like, oh, they're so great. Okay, just listen to what I said. Okay, it renders a lot of what they do useless. Okay, that's my video. I hope you like it. Next, probably a lot of these are gonna be posted all at once, so you can probably just watch the whole series in one night. Like, share, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. See you.